You know, in an industry that loves a good formula, every once in a while, an artist comes along who doesn't just play the game, they completely rewrite the rulebook. Today, we're diving into the incredible story of Lorde, the teenager from New Zealand who totally reshaped pop music with a voice and a perspective that was unlike anything we'd heard before. So here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with her totally unique origins, then get into the massive breakthrough of her first album. From there, we'll explore the emotional roller coaster of her second record, her surprising turn away from the mainstream, and finally, we'll look at the amazing legacy she's already built.
All right, let's kick things off with part one, a different kind of pop. And what a remarkable arrival it was.
And really, this is the question at the heart of it all, isn't it? Her story wasn't some prepackaged pop star launch. It felt different. From the jump, she had this incredible maturity and a sound you just couldn't put in a box.
When you look at her background, all the pieces of the puzzle just click into place. I mean, she wasn't from LA or New York. She grew up in a quiet suburb. Her mom is a celebrated poet, so their house was just filled with books and literature. And you can hear that influence in every single line she writes. Now, you mix that with a wild taste in music, from trip-hop to indie rock, and you've got the recipe for someone truly original.
And that unique foundation, well, it led to her first steps into the music world pretty fast. It all kicked off with a school talent show when she was just 12. That performance got her a record deal by 13. But here's the thing, they didn't rush her into stardom. It was this slow, careful process of letting her find her voice. The real magic happened when she teamed up with producer Joel Little, which led to her dropping her very first EP for free on SoundCloud.
And that free EP, man, that was the spark that lit the fuse for our second section, the Suburban Manifesto, the era of her absolutely stunning debut album, Pure Heroine. This number pretty much says it all. The song Royals, a takedown of the very luxury and excess that pop music usually celebrates, went to number one. It wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural moment. She became the youngest artist in over 25 years to write and perform a number one hit in the US. This quiet kid's rebellion had just become a global anthem.
And this right here, this was the huge shift she brought to the table. While everyone else was singing about diamond rings and champagne, Lorde was writing about the boredom of the suburbs and finding beauty in the ordinary. She gave a voice to literally millions of kids who felt like they were on the outside looking in. Her sound was just as revolutionary as her lyrics. Seriously, think about it. Pop music at the time was all about being bigger and louder, but Pure Heroine was defined by space, by what wasn't there. Those minimalist beats and her layered, almost choir-like vocals created this moody, atmospheric world that was all her own. The production wasn't just in the background, it was part of the story. And you better believe the world took notice. The critics went wild, for sure. But the real proof was when the industry itself had to acknowledge her. At just 17 years old, she takes home 2 Grammys, including Song of the Year. Song of the Year! This wasn't just some fluke hit. This was the establishment tipping its hat to a major new artist. So the big question is, how do you follow up a phenomenon like that? Well, that brings us to our third section, The Heartbreak House Party, and her incredible second album, Melodrama, which was just a massive leap forward artistically. She could have just hit copy-paste, right? Replicated that successful minimalist and observational formula from her debut. But nope, she did the exact opposite. She dove headfirst into a sound that was huge, explosive, and deeply emotional. She traded in that detached social commentary for a raw, honest look at her own heartbreak. And here's how she pulled it off. First, she switched things up, teaming with producer Jack Antonoff in New York. Then, she built the entire album around this amazing concept, a single house party, using it as a metaphor to explore the whole chaotic mess of a first big breakup. And the music itself became just as dense and vibrant to match all that emotion. And that concept is what makes the album an absolute masterpiece. It's not just a collection of breakup songs, it's a whole story. You feel like you're moving through the wild energy, the quiet loneliness, and finally the release of a single night. She takes something so specific and makes it feel completely universal. It's just genius. So after the triumph of Melodrama, the world was basically holding its breath for 4 long years. And when she finally returned, it was with something no one saw coming. Which brings us to section 4, a deliberate departure and her pivot to solar power. And let me tell you, this album split the room.
She traded all that explosive electronic sound for this sun-drenched acoustic vibe inspired by 70s folk music. Some critics loved it, calling it a brave and honest evolution. But a lot of fans, well, they missed the big hooks and high energy of her earlier stuff. It was a classic move of a true artist, challenging her audience to grow with her.
But this era was also about her reconnecting with her home in a really profound way. Alongside the main album, she released this companion EP, re-recording some of the songs in Te Reo Māori. It was this beautiful tribute to New Zealand's indigenous culture, and all the money went to charity. Just a really powerful move.
So, when you put all these different eras together, it brings us to our final section, reshaping the mainstream, and the incredible legacy she has already carved out for herself. Her impact is just massive when you really think about it. She totally blurred the lines between pop and indie, proving you could be smart and lyrically deep on Top 40 radio. By just being herself instead of some manufactured pop star, she kicked the door open for a whole new generation of artists to be authentic too. And you don't have to look far to see her fingerprints everywhere. Artists like Billie Eilish with her minimalist sound and deep, introspective lyrics, or Olivia Rodrigo with her raw, honest songs about heartbreak, they are walking down a path that Lorde helped pave. She fundamentally changed what it means to be a young woman in music today. Which leaves us with this one final thought to chew on. In a world that demands more, constant content, constant noise, Lorde's career has been defined by these deliberate, thoughtful pauses, by her courage to just step away. Maybe her real power isn't in the noise she makes, but in her refusal to play by the industry's rules, reminding all of us that sometimes the most powerful voice is the one that knows when to be quiet.